Let's sing a song full of hope, full of pain. Why don't you sing along, my friend? For it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end. No, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on. And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. Here's to the ones who let shine through the rain, the ones who stood for something more. We won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, and I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Icey Lair podcast, episode number 14. I am your host, the Ice Dragon, Rayron VR. Welcome, everyone. It has been another week. It's been a long week for me. Oh my goodness, my job's got me busy. I had to do a 6-day work week. Oof. So I am definitely tired. I had to work today. But I am happy to end the day with all you lovely folks out there with another episode of the Icey Lair podcast. I always look forward to this podcast because we can just sit back, relax, and just look at how crazy the world is. Definitely. Wing hugs to Avery. Welcome. How you doing today? Hopefully you're enjoying your weekend. I know I am. So with that, guys, I've got some exciting news to announce. So you may have been seeing some changes happen with this particular channel. So we're just going to dive right into it. So there have been some changes. So originally this channel was called the After Dark because I wanted the After Dark to capture all of the other content that I don't necessarily do for like collectibles, for gaming, for model railroading. And the After Dark just wasn't fitting because I was doing a lot of manga reviews. And I wanted something a little bit different because I also wanted to do the news. There have been a lot of Icey news videos that I've done that have seen relative viewership. But it's like there are some topics that, you know, good old Mama Susan here on YouTube probably wouldn't like. And I didn't want that affecting the algorithm when it comes to the manga review because I'm extremely passionate with manga. I mean, I do a lot of content here on the channel for it. And so the After Dark wasn't working for me. So what I ended up doing is I decided to create a fifth channel. Crazy, I know, but I think this is going to work a little bit better for me. Because what I can do is I can focus this particular channel, the Icey News, and put those news articles and just give you guys my perspective on it. Because the viewership for the other Icey News videos I've done on the After Dark and on the model railroading have crazy amount of views. So I decided to create an independent channel to kind of separate that from the manga. And the After Dark I eventually renamed to the Timeless Escapism. I think that really fit the theme that I was going with, because I always talk about escapism, how I try to defend it, how I try to focus my attention to good escapism, and that's where I've just been so drawn to anime, to manga, and that's kind of where the focus is. And the things that I enjoy, like I enjoy Toonami, I enjoy Games Workshop with a few exceptions, and I did a video on that as well. And the power of choice. So I really focus a lot on just escapism as a whole, so it made sense to rename it to the Times of Escapism. And I think it fits better because my whole goal for this particular channel is to expose you guys to the good escapism that's out there, to help you try to escape the craziness of the world and just enjoy a good story, enjoy a good characters, plot development, world building, and so forth. And just having a general chit chat with you guys here on this particular podcast. So, and eventually, as we grow the community, you guys can always join me on Discord, and we can talk as a podcast. So, I am definitely excited about this change. Now, you guys have probably seen something a little bit different, and that's with our upcoming live streams. So, I have determined that doing a manga podcast once a month was not satisfying my craving for manga. I want to build a podcast that is dedicated around it. I originally thought a book club once a month podcast was going to be enough, but then I realized, especially with last stream, it really opened up my eyes that I really need to dive more into this. So the Mangaverse podcast is going to evolve. Like, it is in its infancy stage when I was just doing once a month and doing one book, one volume a month. And I've determined that that's not enough. It just isn't, because I'm so passionate about it. I'm reading manga books almost 2 volumes a day now, which backlogged me on the videos that I needed to create. And so I needed to change it up a little bit. So what I've done is, instead of doing once a month, it's going to be now a weekly podcast. It's going to be every Monday night. I've tried to find a particular date of the week and time that wouldn't really conflict with all the major fandom menace channels like Neurotic and Geeks and Gamers and EFAP and so forth. And I chose Monday night because it works well with my schedule, and I think it gives some breathing room to all the other channels that are out there that the audience enjoys. And so every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will go live with the Mangaverse. Now, I'm really excited because now what that allows me to do is once a week, I can choose how the podcast is going to go. So what I'm thinking about doing is, like, the first week or the first Monday of the month, we'll focus on a particular manga. So we can still focus on the book club style of the podcast. But the second, third, fourth week of the month, that allows us to expand. So maybe the second week of the month, we will focus on an entire manga series that we can look into. So like for the Chainsaw Man, we can now go into like volume 2 the following week, and then we keep going through each volumes until we either catch up with the latest version or complete the manga series as a whole. And then the other 2 Mondays, we can just talk about general chat, as you can see here. I'm still flushing it out a little bit, but what's cool about this is that we get to just talk about any manga, any volume, any story. So if you're passionate about a story and want to talk about it, I'll do a StreamYards, because it seems to me that StreamYards is more accessible to everyone versus trying to go on Discord. But I want to keep the 2 mediums still as an option. So I'll still do Discord with this particular podcast, but I'll do StreamYards with the Mangaverse. And that allows us to just talk, allows us to talk about these great stories, characters that are out there, because there is an audience out there for this. I've seen so many people talk about manga, recommend their favorite stories, their favorite volumes, and I want to tap into that. I want to build a community around that, and that's going to be a huge pillar for this channel. And again, that's why I call it timeless escapism, because stories are timeless. Good stories, bad stories, mediocre, average, default, whatever you want to call it. Escapism is timeless, regardless if Hollywood right now wants to try to destroy it. The power of imagination is endless. And that's the beauty about the concept of this channel going forward. And, manga is going to be a big pillar of that. And eventually we'll go into anime and so forth. So I am excited for it. So next Monday, Mangaverse will be back with Chainsaw Man Volume 1. And after that, we'll start doing general manga chats, which I am excited for. So definitely something to look forward to in the future. And I really do enjoy this change. So some other things. I'm starting to expand where I kind of post my content. So even though some of these alternative or up-and-coming social media platforms have gotten a bad rep, my number one focus is that I need to look past that, and I need to focus on discoverability for you guys. Because I want to, get my voice out there that, hey, I'm here. I am trying to build this community together, the fellowship, the Icey fandom, whatever we want to call ourselves. But I want to try to build, a fandom that just enjoys good stories, that enjoys escapism. And I want to hear you guys' voice on this. Because sometimes I'm sure you guys get tired of me talking, because I can definitely stutter. My grammar's not that great. I can slur my words because I'm technically Hispanic. But, I want to hear other voices. So I'm trying to encourage that as best as I can. So I'm trying to build our platform here on the little interwebs. But yeah, I'm definitely excited now. I feel like with these dedicated 5 channels, it allows me to be me. And the thing is, depending on what I'm passionate about, because my passion changes. Sometimes I'm into collectibles, and I'll do a lot of videos on the collectibles channel. Other times, I'll get into manga wholeheartedly, and then you'll see a lot of manga videos, because that's kind of where I'm at right now. Model railroading is kind of dwindling down a little bit because I am actually in the process of moving, so all those layouts are going to start coming down. Same with the endless collectibles, that's going to start winding down a little bit as I get closer and closer to moving. And then there'll be a point where I'll announce to everyone, hey, I got to stop everything because obviously I'm moving, doing my official Cal exit within the next 6 months. So definitely cannot wait to get out of California. So, but we'll keep pressing, and we'll see what happens. So the Timeless Escapism channel is going to get a good chunk of content just because I'm into manga. It's easy for me to get those videos out, and it requires not a lot of space to do so. So this channel is definitely going to keep going. The other ones are going to slowly slow down, probably to once a week content being released. Gaming is, right now my gaming channel is kind of on hold, just because I don't have the computer to really do what I want to do with that channel. So it is kind of on life support right now until I can get a better computer, which is going to be my number one priority once I get moved. So, because I got to focus on the moving portion first. And obviously the Icey News. The Icey News is going to be one that I'm just going to dump a whole bunch of content, opinionated articles, reacting to the news. That's going to be one that is going to be like, I'm going to turn out. That is my grindy type of content. But my whole purpose of this is discoverability. Someone may discover one of my videos on the Icey News, and then they get exposed to everything else that I do, and hopefully we can build the channels equally. I know it's going to take years to get these up. It's going to take a while to get the community growing, but I'm excited for it, and I'm going to put in the hard work. So, also, like I said earlier, I'm trying to expand my footprint a little bit on the internet. So I've got a Gab account, I got a Getter, I got a Parler. Eventually, I'll look into Odyssey next. I'm starting to upload. I don't advertise this anywhere, but I'm doing backup social media sites just in case if something happens with YouTube. I have a backup. I'm on BitChute right now doing uploads on there. I'm on Rumble doing videos on there. I'm trying to remember the other one. Oh, Odyssey. So those are kind of my 3 backups right now. I need to look into. There's another one I just can't remember. But I'm experimenting right now. And again, it's all about the purpose of discoverability. So some other things with the videos, and I forgot to put it in the description down below, but I'm starting to also open it up to different ways that you guys can help contribute to the Icey Fellowship. I've got Patreon, obviously, was my main one. I've also started a Subscribe Star, and I've also got the Icey Tip Jar with Streamlabs. So if you feel like you would like to contribute and help support the growth of these channels, all that is available to you. Again, no obligation whatsoever. It's just something that's there if you're willing to do so. But I won't advertise that much because I'm here about the content, the things that I enjoy, and hopefully open up you guys to great escapism. So that's my biggest focus right now. So yeah, I think that is all I wanted to talk about when it comes to the channel updates and changes. So again, we're on the Timeless Escapism channel, and the Mangaverse podcast is now going to go to once a week because I've been dying to do another once a week show for you guys besides this one. I haven't really had the time to do so, but then Monday evenings opened up because I was a moderator for a different channel, and that channel switched times on me, so I can't necessarily do that anymore. But that opened up that night to actually do the Mangaverse once a week. So I am excited, really, really excited for that podcast. But with that, I think that's all the channel updates and changes. And yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy the journey. Okay, so with that, we got some more things to talk about. So let's talk about Netflix. Good old Netflix, man. Oof. I think it's really clear that the people are done being in isolation. I think are ready to go out, get a breath of fresh air, do some outdoor activities, be social again. Again, that's just speculation, but Netflix stock has just plummeted the last few days. So originally it was at $5.15 a share, and it plummeted to $397 a share. That is crazy, considering that Arcane just came out and all these other, Squid Games and so forth. They have dropped significantly in shares, and that's the thing I don't get about Netflix. Is like everyone's been saying, go to the weekly model, or try the Disney Plus approach sometimes and release 2 or 3 episodes, and then go 1, 2s after that. It's insane that Netflix still continues to drop the whole series, and then, that's it. They will benefit so much more, especially if I'm a stockholder for Netflix. I will be yelling at Netflix, do the shows once a week, because that drags out the show, that drags out the longer the subscription's got to be, and it's just a win-win for everyone. It still makes no sense that this binge model is going to be their undoing. Especially as these new streaming platforms come online, it's going to be the exact same price with all these streaming services as cable. And Netflix, I think the other big thing that's biting them in the butt right now is that they decided to raise their prices again from the subscription service. And I think the stock market is reacting to that. And even Disney with Disney Plus, they didn't meet their expected subscriber count for Disney Plus, because people are just going to have to pick and choose. They're just going to have to pick and choose. So, yeah, it's crazy. You would think Netflix would learn, but I just don't get it. So, yeah, Netflix, they're hurting. They are hurting. All right, let's go ahead and look at another thing. So, last week, we were looking at the trash trains. and how LA is becoming kind of a wild, wild west of robbery in the modern era. And last week I stated that, man, it's a testament to railroading that we didn't see any derails from all this trash. Well, one of our moderators, Yellow White Rose, sent me this in Discord the very next day. That statement didn't age, or it aged one day. It didn't go too well because January 15th, a train actually derailed in this area. So, yep. Needless to say, the train derailed going through here from the trash trains. Crazy. Unbelievable. That is the state of everything. Man, there's been something interesting going on with YouTube because I'm still live. And I've been seeing this with other channels as well, that the viewership, YouTube's been having issues with the viewership. Because there's been channels that have like 3K, 4K viewers, and then it goes down to like 1 and 0. And I'm starting to see that now. So there's definitely something going wrong with YouTube on the back end. Definitely crazy. But yeah, there was a derailment. 17 cars, Union Pacific trains. Like, oh, rip. Surprised it didn't happen sooner. So thank you, Yellow Right Rose, for pointing that out. Yikes. Just yikes. All right, let's talk about something else here. So one thing I forgot to do last week is, where in the world is the Webb telescope? Now, you guys know I'm really passionate about space, and this was definitely one of the biggest news for me last year, which was the deployment of the Webb Space Telescope. Humanities transformer in space, because it was transformed from a box to this spacecraft. And so our Webb telescope is approximately a couple days. They said by Monday it's going to do its burn into the L2 orbit. Basically, a spot in space where you can park a vehicle and it won't go outside of Earth's influence into deep space between two bodies of objects. Again, if you want to know more about the L2 stuff, Scott Manley is a great YouTuber. Highly recommend subscribing to his channel. He'll give you plenty of information on how that works. But yeah, we are just 2 days away from the Webb Space Telescope, humanity's second eye into space, being parked for the rest of its deployment. And they've been saying that because of the Ares rocket that put this into space, it was so accurate that it didn't have to use so much fuel that the Webb Space Telescope has. And so this telescope is going to be in the L2 orbit for approximately 20 plus years of operation, which is great to hear. Because eventually it will need to be refueled, but we haven't developed the capability to do so. They're speculating that Northrop Grumman is developing a refueling robot. SpaceX with Starship could potentially be a good candidate to refuel this guy, but going to be interesting. Going to be interesting. So, cannot wait. I can't wait to see the first images. Cannot wait. And going back to some other space news here. This was pretty cool. So, a couple days ago, we had this explosion of a volcano that happened in the Pacific. And I actually got a tsunami warning, too, because I live off the coast of California. And nothing happened, but there was a volcano eruption, and you can see it from space. And that was the cool thing about this, is that a lot of our space assets and weather satellites was able to capture the eruption of the volcano from space. Absolutely cool. But Tonga got hit the hardest, and we didn't see anything in the States. But yeah, definitely something to behold. So we haven't talked about SpaceX in a while. So SpaceX is continually working on their starship, and they had like two major setbacks. One of them was one of their storage tanks just it's exploded, and the other one was this guy right here. This was the full test of the SpaceX Raptor 2 engine, and as pretty as this looks, that green flash is actually a very bad thing. To my understanding, it's when the copper of the actual parts of the engine is catching on fire. So basically what you're seeing here is an engineering deconstruction, unplanned deconstruction, aka the engine was pretty much destroyed. So anytime you see that green flash, it's because the engine has malfunctioned, has failed, and there's no recovering it. So you saw that a lot when the first Starship test from the belly flop to the vertical landing position happens. If you see that green flame, the engines were basically malfunctioning. So yeah, hopefully they can figure out the issues with Starship. And I know they just did a couple static tests of Starship 20, which has the tiles on it. And their static testing continues to shake off their tiles needed for re-entry. So hopefully SpaceX can start figuring out their issues. And then the Mecha Cranes Godzilla thing. They're starting to do tests with the crane. The crane is fully movable because it's designed to capture the rocket as it comes back in. And so they got these two water balloons, or sacks essentially, that they put on there to test the weight capability of the arm. And as you can see, it's getting memed. But anyways, pretty cool. Again, our wonderful Opportunity rover with its helicopter friend continuing to take beautiful shots of Mars. It's crazy to think that this is on another planet, and that hopefully someday we'll get to colonize it and develop it. I'm excited. We need to go. It's time. It's time for humanity to get off its cradle here on terra firma. I'm excited for that. Okay, so I think, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but I think a couple days ago we completed, I want to say, one complete rotation in our galaxy, in the the Milky Way galaxy. But just to put it in perspective, I read somewhere that this exact spot in our galaxy, when we passed it, I think like dinosaurs were still roaming, or even before the dinosaur times. But just to put things into perspective, our sun orbits the center of the Milky Way galaxy, traveling at an average 450,000 miles per hour. Even at that speed, it takes 230 million years to complete one orbit. Absolutely crazy. This is what makes space fascinating to me, and why Avengers Endgame is so terrible. The fact that trying to bring everyone back, it's like, the Earth isn't in the same spot when you bring those people back. They're going to be in space because we move. The entire galaxy moves. But again, that's all debatable and subjective. But yeah, pretty awesome stuff. Pretty awesome stuff. Okay. So, with that point, that's pretty much all I have to really talk about. I want to give you guys into a sneak peek into my next few videos. So, one thing I want to try to do on this podcast is talk about manga. Again, it's going to be short because once I start spinning up the mangaverse, we'll talk about a whole bunch of things there. But I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. So, I've got my next 3 videos. So I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit because I just got done recording these 3 videos right before I started. So we got Bakuman, we got Solo Leveling, and we got Citrus. So these 3 I highly recommend. They're pretty good. Bakuman's basically a story of how manga gets developed. So highly, if you're interested in trying to be a manga artist, creator, or writer, this is actually really good, very informative on that front. Solo Leveling reminds me of Indiana Jones, which again, you'll get to see my review on that. And then Citrus is basically a, how can I describe it? It's definitely a drama, romantic. It's borderline comedy, but not quite. It does get serious. It's a drama relationship, love story between these two characters here, which again, you'll get that in my full video. But I've been reading manga like crazy, and it's getting to the point that I'm reading faster and faster, that I'm able to start getting 2 volumes completed in one night. So it takes me about maybe an hour to complete 2 volumes now. So I've been getting backlogged, because normally I try to read one, finish one, script out my video, or script out my notes for the video, get the video, and then upload to all the platforms. And usually that's a 2-day process. Well, I've been getting backlogged and busy with IRL, so that is what's coming up. That is what's coming up. And I'll probably have, I'm not sure exactly which one will come first. I'll probably do Solo Leveling first tomorrow. And then I will probably have to take a break on Monday. Again, I'm going to get backlogged. One of 2 things will happen. Either I will dump these all out tomorrow just so that I'll have everything ready for Monday. Or it'll be Monday, Tuesday, or it'll be a Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday release. We'll see. Depends on my mood at the time, so all depends on my mood. Okay, let me make sure I got no one in Discord who wants to come in. Let me check the Streamlabs. Okay, we're good on all those fronts. Gotta make sure I keep checking that now. Sweet. But yeah, I am definitely excited. Again, it's all about escapism, and I enjoyed these 3 stories. You know, I was definitely skeptical about Citrus because from what I saw and read, it was definitely going to be a lesbian couple, which I'm all okay with. It's just, how are the characters and the story going to get created? Can I get into it? And are there good payoffs? You know, are there good character building? Is the chemistry good between the two? And yeah, it paid off. It's a good manga, so definitely excited to read on. But yeah, give you guys the back here so you can kind of see here. There are the reverse sides. So again, videos coming up on these 3 manga books. All right, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, I'll do this. We had some interesting news. Now, I did videos on this on my Icey News channel, but I'm going to touch up on it just a little bit. I don't know if I have... Yeah, I've got one of the articles here that we'll look into. So again, I did make a video on this. So good old aristocrats, good old Disney, again, because I try not to talk about Disney, but Disney continues to do stupid shit. Aristocrats, live action adaptation in the works by Disney. Like, why? We don't need this. It's not going to be live adaptation because you can't just take a live cat and tell the cat what to do. It's going to be CGI. So that's a contradictory to live action itself. We all saw how that live action Lion King went. And now we're going to get Aristocrats. It's like, when the hell will Disney get the message that we don't need this? We don't need this. I give up. I give up. Another thing I want to talk about. We need to go to Rotten Tomatoes. Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes because, again, Disney. I just reminded myself something about Disney. I am getting very, very close the black pilling Star Wars. Because it is clear that the writing, the direction, the characters all suck when it comes to Book of Boba Fett. I am so happy I didn't pay money to see this. So I want to take a look at the Rotten score for the audience side because it's pretty telling. So that's not a great score. 61%. I think that needs to be lower. It's garbage. And especially with episode 4. Spoilers. I'm going to talk about spoilers for a little bit. Boba Fett is the most incompetent character to date. He goes back into the fucking Scarlac pit with his ship to try to get his armor back. This dude is dumb. The writing is dumb. The direction is dumb. The live action Lion King was just wrong. I didn't watch it, Avery. I saw it, I was like, that's not for me. I am a huge advocate of, if you don't want to watch it, don't pay for it. Put your money elsewhere. Put your hard-earned dollar to something that you're going to get value out of. But yeah, they didn't need to. And the fact that they got rid of most of the songs. And just the anime direction, it's like, why? The cartoon is perfectly fine. Leave the classics alone, Disney. Leave the classics alone. So the Book of Boba Fett at 61%. This isn't Star Wars. And I was just recently watching the latest episode of Every Frame Pause and with Anna That Star Wars Girl, and she was very knowledgeable of her EU content. And she was saying that a lot of stuff from episode 4 took from the EU. Which doesn't surprise me because this is what Disney does. They decanonize the entire EU and they're bringing in story elements from them into their own version. So that way they don't have to pay royalty to the people who actually created the original idea. That's how they get away with it. They are cheap. They are scummy. And we shouldn't support this crap. But that goes without saying. If you enjoy this, then have fun. If this is your escapism, have fun. It is definitely not for me. And like I've always advocated, if you want to be a bounty hunter, just play Star Wars The Old Republic online. It's a great game. You can be a bounty hunter class in that game. If you really want to understand the concept of bounty hunting, go watch Cowboy Bebop. I can't stress that enough. That anime is just so good. It's like, this is what bounty hunting is. Love Cowboy Bebop. I still gotta finish it. I just haven't had time. I'm about, and the other one I gotta finish is Beastars. So I'm about halfway through Beastars. Because I know I promised a few people that I'll watch it. I am struggling with Beastars right now because, again, I don't want to talk about too much spoilers. I want to do it in a separate video. I'm struggling with Beastars, and I'm just hoping that the payoff at the end is going to be worth it. Because I'm a bit concerned where it's heading. But we'll see. I will try to finish it. Well, I will finish it. It's just going to take me a little bit more time than I thought. And then the next thing I got to get into is obviously Cobra Kai. Because I've got a lot to watch with Cobra Kai. I got to start from scratch from the movies and then get into the show. So that's going to take even longer. But I've got a lot of things to watch, which I can't wait. I'm actually excited for. But I'm probably end up going to finish Cowboy Bebop first / Beastars and then get into Cobra Kai. But, yeah, I don't think there's any movies or anything coming up that I want to go see. It's been kind of dead. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home is kind of killing it. But we'll talk about that next, because next week is going to be the State of Ice podcast, where we wrap up everything about the month, and we'll talk about that a little bit more next podcast. But I'm excited. I love doing the end of month State of Ice podcast, because that one we could talk about, okay, what happened in the year or in the month. What were some good movies, some good manga, some good TV shows, and kind of an update on all that. So. Yep, Avery, definitely loud and clear. Loud and clear. Okay. Cool. Let's do that. Silly bots. Silly bots. Cobra Kai is awesome. Yep. Can't wait. I will do a marathon with that. Cause I want a good like kung fu karate story. I miss Chucky Chan. I'm a huge Chucky Chan fan. I need to go back and watch Rush Hour. I love Chucky Chan. So I need to watch a good kung fu just kung fu story. And Cobra Kai is definitely right up my alley, so got to do it. Got to do it. Alrighty. Well, guys, ladies and gentlemen, those who will watch this in the future, I think that is it. Let me just make sure I check all my notes. I feel like there was something else, but I don't think so. Oh yeah, there was one other thing. I actually made a video on this. Good old M&Ms. Good old M&Ms. Who would have thought that a delicious peanut butter center or milk chocolate core would go fucking woke? Oh my goodness. Like, what? I made the joke that you can eat wokeness and it tastes delicious. M&M's characters are getting a new look to become more inclusive. And basically the whole thing about it is that the sexy green one with the high heel boots and everything, they just made it sneakers, and yeah. I just don't fucking get it. Yeah. More inclusive. Like, create more mini M&Ms, please. All I want is the mini M&Ms back. I want my 90s back. I want my tub-filled mini M&Ms back. That's all I want. I love mini M&Ms. It was so freaking good. Absolutely agree. Like, this is just a marketing scheme. That's all it is. They want to generate clicks. They want to generate free advertising. But it's like, we got to call the bullshit out, too. We got to call it out. It's like, come on. You want to sell your product. Just sell your product. You know, and I would say, you know, the stock market probably had an effect on it, but I realized that Mars is a privately owned company which owns M&Ms. So, yeah. Yeah, it's sad. Like, even in candy, we can't escape this crap anymore. I don't get it. Like, I took a business 101 class. This is just not how you do it. I don't know. I just don't get it. Yeah, that is the state of culture. Sure. Sure. Yikes. I just don't get it. I don't know what these companies are thinking. You would think they'd be there to make money. But now they want to use all of their branding as a platform. And we all know what happens when you use your marketing, use your brand. And I'm looking at you, Star Trek. I'm looking at you, Star Wars. I'm looking at you, Doctor Who. When you use your brand as a platform to get the message, the narrative, people are just going to turn away. The silent customer will just, they won't give you feedback. They'll just walk away. That's what we're seeing in the comic book business. Like, they're taking massive hits right now. That's something else we can talk about. Hang on. There was a trailer that came out. I'm skeptical about it, but I am excited for it for a biased reason. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, display capture. Let's get this going. And let's begin.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello,
Cannot
and
wait
welcome
for
to
this.
Staying Awake.
I think I'm losing it.
He's losing it.
We'll catch you on.
Oh, come on.
You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Stephen,
Oh, jeez.
I can't tell the difference
I didn't realize how cringe that was.
between my life and dreams.
Thank you.
Lost the contact lens.
Hope you find it.
Thanks.
In a few months.
Yeah.
That razor, though.
God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark? That must be very difficult. Voice in your head. There's chaos in you. Embrace the chaos.
Okay, so I want to pause it there because that's actually a really critical line that I have about this trailer. Embrace the chaos. Now, we'll see how that goes because this is a character, to my understanding, that has a multiple personality disorder. So he has different personalities, different names, different characters within his own mind. Now, for a person to embrace that, we'll see how the messaging comes across. So I'm skeptical to see how they're going to pull that off because, again, Disney with character development is really, really bad right now. And I'm crossing my fingers that they can at least do something decent with this. But this can go in many different directions. I actually end up getting the Moon Knight Epic Collections, and I'll grab that here actually real quick. I will be right back. So give me a few seconds. I'm actually going to grab that, and we'll talk about it a little bit more here in a second. Okay. So I am back with it, and we'll take a look at it here in a second. Yeah, going back to the M&Ms. So when I eat M&Ms, I never think of it as male or female, never cross my mind. Yeah, exactly. You just want to eat a nice little snack, you know? Just, ugh. Yikes. But yeah, embrace the chaos. That's a statement that really rubbed me the wrong way, but we'll see how they actually develop the character. That costume, I like it. Now, Moon Knight, I am really extremely biased for, and I will tell you why. So, this should be no surprise if you guys have watched a good chunk of my content. I am a huge fan of Sailor Moon. Now, in Sailor Moon, there's a character called the Moonlight Knights, which I will bring a picture up here in a second. So I'm kind of biased towards things that are like that, or characters that remind me of Sailor Moon. So I'll bring this over here. And so this is the Moonlight Knights. He only appears in the anime, doesn't appear in the manga. But it's basically Tuxedo Mask's like alter personality. So when I discovered that there's a Moon Knight from Marvel, it really kind of triggered me a little bit, because it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's a Moon Knight in Sailor Moon. So it's like, which one came first? Who inspired who? Because they are very, very similar. Very similar. So I'm really curious, you know, which one came first. So that's my biased opinion, why I kind of want to get into Moon Knight, because of that. But I love the idea that you have this multi-personality character, and, you know, he gets kind of infused with a Egyptian god, and now he has these powers. He's got the moon crest on his chest and the forehead. That screams Sailor Moon to me, so it's like, that's why I'm really excited for this. But again, I'm hesitant because of everything that we've gotten in the past. And then Oscar Isaac, I think, is a great choice, but we'll see how that comes to life. March 30th. Very cool. So I am really excited for the Moon Knights. Okay, nope. Wonderful EFAP. And so let's also get back into what I bought to get into the character. Now, it's definitely expensive, but again, I wanted to know more about the character. And so I got this. The one and only thing that I've gotten from Marvel. So this is the Epic Collections Moon Knight. This is something I was just going to read in my free time to better understand the character. And basically what this collections is, it basically has all of the stories of Moon Knight. I think this is volume 1, though. Yeah, this is volume 1. So this is the era from 1975 to 1981 run of the Moon Knights. So I saw this at my local comic book store, because, you know, I was actually wanting to look into Moon Knight, because it's not a typical hero. You know, it wasn't until they were making this show that got me interested in him. But the issue is that I am used to manga reading. I'm used to black and white. I'm used to a very certain art style when it comes to manga. This is 100% all comic based. And this is really the first one that I've really dived into from a comic. And needless to say, I'm struggling through it, because the way it's structured is totally different, because you actually have a narrator in comics. You don't have that in manga. So the adjustment to it is a little bit rough for me, and it's all colored too. And the big thing to note is that anything in like yellow bubbles is the narrator. Anything in white is the character talking. So there's a particular format that when you read this, you have to shift your brain a little bit. Say, okay, this is the character. Now this is the narrator. And now this is the world being developed from the setting of the narrator. There's a lot of more things when it comes to comics. But I'm excited for this. I got this just because I wanted to know the backstory behind them before I go into the show. So I'm hoping that I can start focusing on. I want to finish this before the show comes out. That way I'll know like from the comic book side, and then I'll know the actual character, which is the first for me. Because normally I'm not into comics whatsoever. I just never grew up with it. I'm a born in the 80s, raised into the 90s kid. So I'm a 90s kid technically. I'm technically a millennial. And I grew up with anime. And my love for anime took me into manga. Never went into comics because when it comes to superheroes, I watched a cartoon. Batman the animated series, Justice League, Spider-Man the animated series, and so forth. X-Men. And then eventually, when I went from cartoons to the movies, and then I just stayed with the movies for superheroes, Marvel and DC, and never went into comics. But so yeah, this is my very first kind of comic-y thing that I really wanted to get into because of the Moon Knight trailer. So I'm excited to read it. And I don't know, maybe I'll do a video on it. Maybe I won't. I don't know how I will do a video on this because this is a lot of. They basically put a whole bunch of comic book runs together into this epic collection. And yeah, this is a volume. Like I said, this is volume 1. And oh, camera, please focus. You can do it. Focus. It's still pretty cool though. But I mean, you can see the difference. The face is pretty much all black there, whereas in the show, you kind of see his white cloths and everything. But he's white there, so I don't know. Again, all about adaptation, but I'm excited to see the show nevertheless. So that's kind of the one thing I'm actually interested for. And that'll be the one thing that, as much as I hate to give Disney money, and I'll probably end up resubscribing to Disney Plus just so I can watch Moon Knight. And then as soon as it's done, cancel it. And I'll probably end up binge watching The Bad Batch, and I'll still probably watch the Book of Boba Fett because I want to get my money's worth of viewing, but I know it's still trash. So yeah, Moon Knight. I'm excited for that. So, I mean, that trailer looked good. But again, I'm skeptical because of WandaVision, because of Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye. Like, it's a bad record right now for Disney and Disney Plus shows. So, I'm really hoping that Oscar Isaac's show is going to be really good. He's a good actor. He just needs to be treated right with a good script, good writing, good director. I mean, I heard he was good in Dune, so we shall see. We shall see. All right, but I think that is everything. Got kind of an extra bonus there with the Moon Knight, 'cause I just remembered that the Moon Knight trailer was coming out. But we're officially coming up on 1 hour for the stream, and that's usually how long I want to take it. And I am out of topics to talk about this week, so thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on episode 14 of the Icey Lair podcast. Again, just a reminder, I have a new 5th channel, Icey News channel, that I'll be doing a lot of IRL type of pop culture news articles. Very short, gives you a quick opinion of what's going on, and then we just move on to the next topic. So just short little videos to get my voice out there. So, and Mangaverse podcast every week, which I am excited to do, starting this coming Monday with the Chainsaw Man Volume 1, and then General Chat the week after. So, man, it's almost the end of January already. Episode 15 will be the State of Ice for January, where we look at a recap of everything kind of pop culture, escapism content for the year. So, I am excited for that. I love my State of Ice end of the month recaps. So, that'll be next week, episode 15 on the Icey Lair podcast. Also, this week will be the week of podcasts. So we got the Mangaverse on Monday. Wednesday, we have our first episode of the year of the Triple C Crochet Collectibles and chatting with the lovely, the Geeky Crochet. We've got our first episode of the year coming out this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. She's got, I think, 2 figures to show now, which is awesome. And we are coming to an end for my Sailor Moon collection. So kind of a little bit of a sneak peek. I've got, I think, 6 things to unbox, and that'll wrap up pretty much the collection side of Sailor Moon. But February, I'm excited for February. We're going to do something special for February. So tune in. We'll make the announcement then. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Ice Lair podcast. Tongue Twister. Episode 14. And with that, I'll see you on Monday. So with that, wing hugs to everyone, and have a good night.
Time turns to darkness. Well,